Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Gina and I make videos about houseplants and houseplant related content, and I make new videos every week, and thanks for joining me here today. So in today's video, I wanted to take a look at plants in my collection that I wish were doing better. So I guess some of these might be considered struggle plants. Some of them aren't really struggling, they're just like not doing anything, and I wish they would do something. So we'll take a look at those. Maybe we can discuss a little bit why I think they're not doing great, why they're not doing something. So we can do that, and then I'm hoping that maybe you guys can give me some suggestions of what I can do. Maybe you've had these experiences with these plants and you've been able to figure it out and make them grow nicely for you. So if that's the case, you can hopefully leave me some suggestions because I would really love that. All right, so I have 5 plants on my I wish they were doing better list, and the first one we're gonna look at is right here next to me, and it is this Hoya Sunrise. Now this plant used to be so beautiful. It had the perfect red sun stressing, and it was your classic beautiful Hoya Sunrise. And you wouldn't even know, I don't think, that this is a Hoya Sunrise. I mean, I suppose if you're really into Hoyas and you know your Hoyas really well, you would know by looking at like the pattern on the leaf that it's a Hoya Sunrise. But for me, the way I really can spot one is when it has that just brilliant red coloring. And this one hasn't had that for a really long time. So my troubles with this one started when it was in terracotta. I had it potted in terracotta. And like what happens to a lot of my, not a lot, but what happens to some of my Hoyas is they get too dried out and then they end up with dry rot. And that happened with this one. And so that's kind of like where things kind of halted on this one. I had to reroot this one. I rerooted it in water. And then after that, after it grew some roots back, instead of putting it back into terracotta, I put it into a plastic nursery pot. And that is where it has been, in this plastic nursery pot, since that happened. It hasn't done a darn thing since I did that. So I'm trying to figure out what can I do to make this start growing again for me. So I know some of you might be thinking, well, maybe it's those mites that the Hoyas have been getting. I suppose that's a possibility, but I don't see any sign of that. I don't see any of that like crazy, like bulbous like growth, like chunky growth on it, like the typical sign of mites. I just don't see that. So, I do have some sulfur, and I know some people have reported that just putting that sulfur on them can stimulate them to start growing again. So that's an option. Do you guys think that's a good option? Let me know. Yeah, I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure exactly what else I could do to make it start growing again for me. I suppose another thing I could do is stick it into my grow tent, because I have done propagations of this plant before the dry rot issue. I did propagate it and grew many plants out of it, little propagations, and each of those propagations were that beautiful red coloring, and the veining in the leaves really pops, and they were gorgeous. So, that's a pretty good option, I think. I'm kind of leaning towards that. It's currently in a southeast facing window, so it does get a little bit of direct morning, late morning, very early afternoon sunlight. But yeah, now that I'm talking out loud to you guys, I think I'm gonna stick it in my grow tent. Before I mess with like a sulfur treatment, because there's no visible bug issues. There's no mealybugs, there's no thrips, there's no visible sign of bugs. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm glad we talked this out together. So if you guys think that's the best idea also, let me know in the comments, but that is what I'm leaning towards. So yeah, I think we figured this one out, at least for now. Hoya sunrise. All right, so the next one on my list is another Hoya, and it is right here, and it is Hoya elliptica. So this plant, I did a number on this plant. This was my fault. This one got too much direct sun. So at least that's what I think. I think that was the issue. So this one was sitting in a southwest facing window. It was getting blasted with sun, and we were pretty hot. It was, it could be like 80 degrees. I don't like air conditioning, so I like turn my air conditioning on as a last resort. So it would get like, it'd be like 80 degrees in the house and blasted with intense, when I say intense, Colorado sun is so intense, so hot. And so this plant, it looks like a small plant, right? Well, this plant used to be all the way up here, like filled in all of this. And I showed you guys this plant not that long ago. So maybe you remember what it used to look like. But the vines dried up here. The leaves just like, I can't even describe, they turn like brownish, puckery, yellow. Actually, they kind of, there's one down here that still kind of looks like it. They just look bad, and then they just dropped right off of the vine. The vines were all dried up, and it's funny because it started at the top. So I don't think it's a case of dry rot on this plant, because I don't remember this one ever actually drying out. It never like got super dried out. And the leaves down here are fine. They're not like, usually with the dry rot or the root rot, it starts at the bottom and works its way up. This one started at the top and it's working its way down. So yeah, I think I got this one with too much sun. So I guess this is more maybe like a struggle plant right now. But it's also a plant that I wish would start growing for me again. But I think it was under so much stress recently that I think this is going to be it for this growing season. I don't know, we'll see. So what can I do? What can I do to help this plant? So I don't think I need to repot it. Repotting it is not in my plan. One thing I could do, which would probably really help this one out, would be to put this one in my grow tent also. Otherwise, there's not, it's my fault. I burned this plant. I guess for now, what I need to do is just like treat it kindly, treat it better. So I have moved it. It's no longer, of course, I moved it. It's no longer in that location where it was getting so much direct sun. So I have taken that step. But like I said, maybe the next step to really help it out, to really baby this plant, would be to stick it in my grow tent. But yeah, but this is one that I wish was doing better for me. And this is the second time actually that I've struggled with this plant. This one did at one point have dry rot, and I had to reroot it in water, and then I put it in here. So this is like a second round. That was last summer, I think. So here we are struggling again this summer. So I don't know. Not my favorite Hoya. Just not my favorite Hoya, I guess. But I would love to be able to make this one thrive. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So I think at this point, I think I'm going to leave it in its new location. Its new location it's still in a bright location, but it's not getting any direct sun. I'm just going to watch it and see what happens. See if it starts improving. Maybe I'll see a growth point. If I don't, then I will stick it in my grow tent. So yeah, have any of you had an experience with Hoya elliptica in direct sun that didn't go so well? See, I thought these could take direct sun. I thought these, like, they get sun stressing, like really pretty sun stressing, but maybe not. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I don't know. Maybe I just got a more delicate Hoya elliptica, a little bit more of a fussy one. I don't know. That's Hoya elliptica on my list. Okay, so the next one on my list of plants I wish were doing better for me is not a Hoya. It's a Begonia, and it is so pathetic. It is so pathetic. Begonia chlorosticta. This plant is so difficult for me. Oh my goodness. So look how terrible it looks. So what have I been doing to this plant? Well, I don't let it dry out. It lives in a terrarium, like an enclosure. I think that's the only reason it's still here and it still has some green on it. Help me, you guys. I can't keep these, I can't keep them alive. So this was a bigger plant. It did get bigger, and I have cut it a couple times, and I've tried growing it into one of my terrarium jars back here, and every time I try, it just like, it doesn't take. It won't take. It just dies. And I feel like this plant is just, it's just a bad plant. I mean, it still has, see the green, there's like little green leaves at the bottom, but it doesn't do anything. It just, this is it. Those little leaves don't get any bigger. I'm wondering if it's the soil it's in, because there's like mold. There's like mold on the top of the soil. I don't know, you guys. I got this one off of Etsy, and it came from the same place as another Begonia that I got from them, and that one's gone. That one's gone. Same thing. I tried cutting it multiple times and putting it into a really nice enclosed terrarium, and it just wouldn't take. And I don't know, are these just really fussy, like really difficult, or is it where I'm getting them from? Perhaps. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. But this is one that is pretty much, I've written this off. I don't expect anything from it. I think it'll just be like, it'll either die or it'll be like this forever. But yeah, this is one that I wish was doing better for me, but it's not. And I have no expectations for it. So what could I do? What could I do? So the only thing I can think of would be to repot this one, put it in a new type of soil, and then stick it back into, maybe even stick it in my grow tent. I don't know, but this one is so ugly. It's just ugly. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. You know, it's like, it's not going to, if I do nothing, I mean, I don't even know how to explain this. I could do nothing and it's going to look ugly, or I could do something and it might help it. It'll probably just kill it if I try to do anything, but I mean, what's the point of not doing something because I'm not enjoying this? This is not bringing me joy. So I might as well try and do something. So okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna repot this one, put it in brand new soil, and just go from there. It's either gonna die or it's gonna start improving, or it's gonna still do absolutely nothing. So yeah. Begonia chlorosticta. Okay, so the next one on my list of plants I wish were doing better for me would be right here, and this is my String of Hearts Silver Glory. And so this one, it's not that it's doing poorly, it's not. It's got all of this growth down here. It's a really pretty plant, but if we look here at the top, it's so bare at the top, which is like classic, I think, for these string of plants. They're just like not much going on at the top and everything is here down at the bottom. So what can I do? What can I do to improve this plant? So what I'm thinking is, first of all, I think I'm gonna chop this plant, and I have one of those lights that you can stick into a pot, like you stick it in the pot and it like shines. So if I want to fill in the top, I need to get more light at the top. I think that's the issue, that there just wasn't enough light shining at the top of the pot. So I have like these big old, I forget what they're called, tubers, or I think that's what they're called. See this big chunky one here? So I'm gonna propagate this plant, and I'm gonna stick those back into the pot. Some of these vines are super dry down here, so this really does need a trimming, a cleaning up. Yeah, I think in order to get this growing better for me, I just need to trim it up and get more light on the top. And I won't have to complain about this one, saying I wish it was doing better for me. It's such a pretty plant. I love the colors, and it looks so good with terracotta, I think. So yeah, so this is one I wish was doing better for me, but I think I know exactly what I need to do that, to get it doing better for me. I just have to implement those things, and we should be good. So this was kind of an easy one to figure out. That's String of Hearts Silver Glory. All right, so we have one final one on my list of plants that I wish were doing better for me, and it's in the other room, so we're gonna have to go to it because I need to show you where it is, and we'll talk about it out there. Okay, so the final plant on my list of plants I wish were doing better for me is right here, and this is my Thai pink lipstick plant. So if you followed me for a while, you remember this plant. And it used to be, I used to hang it all the way back here. This is where it used to hang, right here. And this is a northwest, west, mostly west northwest facing window. And in the afternoon, it gets blasted with sunlight, like super intense, hot sunlight. And I know, because I think it was Paul, told me that these plants do best. They're like I don't know if you describe them as understory plants, but they get shaded by plants above them. So they do better being shaded. And I was so stubborn because I really, really wanted this plant hanging in that window because I just thought it looked so pretty there. And I didn't want to believe that, no, it's going to do well. It's going to do well. It's going to be fine. But you know what? That's not the case. As you can probably see, it is missing quite a few leaves. just this summer, it drops so many leaves, and there's leaves up here. Here's some leaves that have fallen off, and it just hated it there. It hated it there. So I had to do what was best for the plant. Not what was best for me and my decorating, but what's best for the plant. So I moved it to this location. So it's still a very bright room. It gets light from these windows here. It gets light from a window here. There are grow lights in this room that also this benefits from. So yeah, that's what I'm doing to try and turn this one around, to try and make it do better for me. So let's see what happens. Last year, it bloomed for me so beautifully, so beautiful. I don't know, I think maybe it probably got too stressed out and maybe it won't bloom for me. I don't know, I don't expect it to. But if it does, that would be awesome. But yeah, right now we're in recovery. We're trying to get this one happy again. So yeah, the best thing I could do for this one was to move it out of that direct sun. So yeah, that's Thai pink lipstick plant. So those have been 5 plants that I really wish were doing better for me. And I'm gonna do an update to this video in a few months. We'll come back, we'll revisit these plants, see how they're doing after the changes I made. And yeah, I'll give you updates for sure. Hopefully they'll all still be with me. We'll see. There's only one that I'm really concerned won't still be with us. And of course, that's the Begonia. But who knows, maybe it will work out. Maybe my solution will work out. So I'm going to implement all this stuff and we'll see what happens. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I make videos every week, twice a week, and I'd love for you to be a part of this community. And I hope you guys are having a fabulous week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.